Hello everyone. Um, yeah, I got a rare moment to put up a stream, given I'm so time poor these days. And I found Mugwort against xuanet. Um, they've been playing some 3+2, it appears. Um, and yeah, I thought I'd commentate a few games since I've just been absent for a while. Yeah, happy to stumble across an E4 E5 game. So I'm finding I'm the one that's often playing this sort of line as black, and this is G5. Um, yeah, this is some big theory at the moment, and I think Mugwort would know what he's doing. Pawn at E7. You can't take with the knight because knight takes F6 is very strong for white. Um, so it's this crazy queen sack, and rook takes F7. Um, which I don't know to be. I don't know if this is the move I would be playing. I wonder if this can be taken and then. I feel like there's something decisive, like a rook at g7, bishop takes, but I don't know if white really has enough there. Let's just catch up with the game at this point. Knight at f3, very interesting. You can't capture it because of knight at e2. Pawn at g2 takes knight f4. Queen at g2. So black wins this bishop, and then yeah, it looks like xuanet sidestepped. Jeez, bishop at g4. So I've not seen this before. I don't know where the players are at. Um, I mean, black's basically saying if you take the knight, I'm gonna take here. Um, I don't know if black really has enough. Maybe pawn at g2. Sorry, I'm thinking just pawn at f3 here. No, so Mugwort deciding to pin the queen, avoiding queen takes g2. I'm kind of giving you disjointed commentary because I've joined the game halfway, and I'm just startled to see a line that I thought that only I was playing as black, but I think Juanet's done some study on it. It seems. Theoretically, I think it should be better for white this g5 line, but it's very sharp and there's a lot of lines to know. So black, I think, has some practical chances still, given it's relatively unplayed. So rook at g4, just stabilizing the g file, both for defense and attack. Let's just keep up with the game at hand here. If I'm to take a side here, I probably like black. I think. Um, I I I just feel that black has some potential going here, and a threat here. I don't mind pawn at g7. I think it's good to defend a little, and there's just more minor pieces in hand. So white still has moves, but even something like knight at h5, you could just take here. Rook takes, you take. Knight takes g7, and then you just leave that knight on g7. The black king is relatively safe, and black can start counterattacking by hitting with something like bishop at f3 maybe. So I think Juanet's done well out of the opening here. If I was Mugwort, yes, I was about to say I was going to consider queen at e6. What this does is it does make a threat to remove the defender of g7 and create a hole there, and if you take it, you are still making progress because the bishop is clearing the way for knight at f7. So I like queen at e6. Um, Juanet's style is generally to play aggressive, so you know he'd like to do the most direct moves like a bishop at f3 or bishop at h3, but they're no good at the moment. He could maybe take and play bishop at h5, but he'll have to look out for rook takes g7, which probably can be taken. Hard to say. Bishop at h5. Here we go. So I think rook takes g7 could be a move. Defeat champion saying I think Mugwort has the advantage, but for ZH games I never really know. Yeah, I've just resized my screen. For a long time now I've actually had the chat not visible, but I put in some pretty minimal effort tonight and actually got it to look a little bit better. So Mugwort here, looking for a way in. I don't know if he has the goods. And if queen at g3 to try to get save, I think rook at g6 is good enough for black here. I think xuanet's going to walk away with this one. Oh, knight at d5 though. Knight at d5 could be a win. Oh, so knight at d5. The idea being if takes, you have queen at f5, and then queen takes f7, queen d7 to chase the mate. I just missed knight at d5 earlier. If king takes, queen at f6, and you take the knight, so you would have had to go to g7, queen at f6, and then queen takes here, blocker. Maybe black's still okay with king g7, but I think now it's very clearly black's win. Is there some kind of sneaky rook at g1 that works? It's close. You need pawn at g2 first. Now rook at g1 is made, and I expect xuanet to see it. Knight at e2, king h1, queen at g1, rook takes, knight takes f2. Wow, nice sharp game from xuanet. So if you look at the series below, Mugwort is up 7-4, but xuanet has won 3 out of the last 4 games. Okay, we're going into bishop e7 and d4 traded. A lot of popular lines with the bishop e7. So this is new to my eyes. I think black's come out of the opening just nice here. Yeah, material wise. Wow, okay. King f8. So black's basically saying if you can't mate me, then I've got knight at f3, knight at e2, or queen at g2, and you're in trouble. If anyone would find mate from here, xuanet would be a person, but I think black is good here. These are really nice, sharp games from both players. I don't see a way out for white. Yes, and xuanet has resigned there. Okay, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. So xuanet going for bishop e7. So d6 is a move order. A lot of popular lines with knight f6, and then d4 takes, and d5 is played. After d6, I think, yeah, there's if knight f6, then it's probably knight g5 castles, and knight takes h7 is quite popular there. So xuanet here basically opting to swap off the bishop on c4, and Mugwort making what I would call, in Crazyhouse at least, a positional sacrifice, just to say, well, your knight's out of place on a5, I'm going to go into f7. But what has continued doesn't entirely make sense to me. Basically, the idea of the play... Oh, Ulon donated $20. Thank you so much, Ulon. I'll finish what I'm saying here, then I'll talk a little bit about the donation goal we've got at the bottom. So, yes, I mean, the idea would be, if you're going to sack on f7, you're basically playing against this knight, and then I feel like white playing 2 moves to swap off a piece to then also help this knight get back to a useful square near the king means that, it's... I think black should be okay. But alright, pawn at e6. He was trying to either lure the king out and say there's compensation. I nearly didn't mind king f8 actually against pawn at e6. This kind of ties the king up outside of the 7th rank, and I think white can claim that he has some compensation here. Yeah, so I mean, Ulon just put in $20. That's phenomenal, Ulon. Thank you so much. Yeah, at the bottom right, you'll see there's a 3+2 Crazyhouse World Championship Fund. I have put up a post just this weekend. The registration is now open for the 3+2 Crazyhouse World Championship. The 2 main voluntary organizers will be Fishy Vishy and myself. For all things related to the event. Of course, we're happy for other people to help contribute their time with any of the tasks that get associated with this. Go check it out. If you go to the forums, you'll find it. Just type in Crazyhouse World Championship, or probably even just Crazyhouse. We'll just stray from this very interesting game just for one moment. Yeah, if you just type in Crazyhouse, you probably pick it up. Yeah, because a whole lot of people have posted things. So there's 2 different threads. One is within the Crazyhouse World Championship team forum thread, and one is in the general thread. I just put one originally in Crazyhouse World Championship, and then I realized it was responses were restricted to only team members. So I've also put one in general chess discussion. You can just go there and say I'm in, and you're registered. So registration's open for like the next month. It will close 15th March. We've left it open so that there's plenty of time for people to participate. And if you go to the general chess discussion post, you will also find a link to the post within the Crazyhouse World Championship team area, and this is a much more comprehensive post, let's say, where I've posted a lot of detail on the tournament structure and prize structure. If you're looking for the too long didn't read version, basically we're looking to have the main stage is going to be a double elimination knockout, and we will have a total of 12 candidates that will be left after that stage. And the idea is that, there's been a number of 8 candidates in the past, but I mean, I think in 2018 we had like 11 candidates because of some wild cards. But I just feel the way the game is today, there is so much breadth and depth of talent in the Crazyhouse community, and I feel that 8 players in the candidates would be too few, in the sense that you would lose some of your favorite players before you even get to start playing the candidates. So that's why I've left it open for 12 players, and the whole structure of how that will happen through the double elimination knockout is there. The winner of the candidates gets to take on the defending champion, who is Oppa Wezen from 2018, who defeated myself, very convincingly. He won it fair and square there, and he's also the new champion of the 1+0 Crazyhouse World Championship, also defeating me in the final, which was only played a few months ago. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to recap this game. I actually feel kind of bad. We were in the middle of a very interesting game before, and then I just changed gear to talking about the tournament. Okay, pawn at h3. Here, I was wondering if bishop takes f7 was a move. Knight at g5 is the one has gone for instead. If takes here, you can take here, and then maybe rook g1, because the knight is covering f3. The knight at e6 to block that off, takes, and the queen back to d3. So I guess that's just to stop tricks with knight at f3 check if there's some kind of queen sack. Because when the bishop came here, the rook is defending d8, which makes this queen sack viable. Sorry, what I'm talking about here is if it were black's move, or rather than say black's move, like if you were to take here, for example, takes, knight at f3 check, and then you can take the queen. Black essentially wins a piece, but that didn't work earlier because queen at d8 was mate when the bishop was still back on c8. Say back here. But okay, queen d3, the move played. White now pressuring light squares, particularly e6. Hercules saying Mugwort doing well at 2 a.m. or thereabouts. No, it's not 2 a.m. It's 10:47 p.m. here in Sydney. I think that's a good decision for Mugwort to run back. I think taking would be very bad after bishop takes g4, but king c8 is very safe. I mean, a pawn can land on d7, but the king is very safe on b8. Black is just down a little bit of material, just one pawn, and so yeah, if black can't do something decisive with the initiative, then I feel like white's going to be better in the long run because white has lots of light square entry points. So bishop at g4, I think that's sensible. You've got to try to make some initiative somewhere. Yeah, now what to do? Do you sack this knight? I'm liking white here. So he has gone. And without having a sound continuation, like I just sense this is a principled move in that black knows he has to make something with the initiative here, or else he'll just be a sitting duck. Ulon saying Alexandra Botez and GM Jules Moussard played a match against Andrea Botez and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. The match included a hand and brain Crazyhouse session. Well, that's great. We love it when Crazyhouse makes it to the other channels. Okay, yeah, this is giving black something now. I'm not a fan of king takes g2. Because here look, pawn on d4 makes sense. White's basically saying I'm up material, and I'm going to just start by pushing your most forward piece away. And here I think you play something like maybe a block. Pawn at f5 is probably the sensible block. Pawn at f3, you might run into pawn at g4, and black is still doing things. But pawn at f5, and it's really hard for black to make any momentum. After this move, pawn at f3, and I feel like black is, you know, black's still in the game with some initiative here. See now, pawn at f2 might hit the rook one day if you can get a pawn. So like say pawn at g2, bishop takes e4, and black's defending the light squares nicely. Pawn at d7, king b8 doesn't go anywhere, and then you've got to fend off pawn at f2. So I much better like white here after just pawn at f5. It's just important to you probably call it just some technique to really take away this attacker before you try to capture all the pieces. Now xuanet burning up the clock, and Mugwort's still down on material, but white's underdeveloped. Pawn at f2 is there. You've got to play bishop e3 now. You've got to cover that. I mean, black's got a game here. RN Juggle 28, long time no see, John. Glad to catch a stream. Hope you're well. Thanks, and thanks for following all these years. RN Juggle 28. I know you've been around a long time. The rule rook takes g1 was forced mate, knight at f2, but I think this would be good enough. And look, it was all king takes g2 just let Mugwort back into the match here. Yeah, this is forced mate. So well done from Mugwort, and you can see how they're. I mean, without the commentary here, it's probably harder to work out exactly where something went wrong. But Mugwort was just playing a very principled approach there, after being worse in the opening. He had to push forward, and yes, he was worse, but he gave himself a chance, and xuanet gave him that small slither of a chance, and then he took it. So, alright, we're going down theory lane again. I think this is really interesting here. So, bishop g4, we saw already, yes, knight d5 and g5. Now we'll see if Mugwort is going to avoid. Okay, he's going to play king h1. Now king h1 is what J Killer has been playing against me recently. So I feel like g5 I can fairly claim as being one of the first to play this with some frequency. Not necessarily because it's a good move, but it's a practical move, and it makes for some very interesting games. Now J Killer's played king h1, and like xuanet here, I was a bit stumped when I first saw this move. The idea of king h1, at least in my eyes, you'd have to ask J Killer's opinion, but the main thing is to avoid at some stage a knight taking something on f3 and giving a check, and that tempo is often very important. King h1 is just one of those I'm going to wait and prepare moves. It's basically saying position's kind of blocked, what are you going to do? As black, when I see king h1 though, I'm actually pretty happy, because I know that a lot of theoreticians that have studied the game with Stockfish will probably punish this line as white much heavier if they're completely booked up. So king h1 is not the theoretical continuation, but kind of allows black to play a game. I've played against J Killer some nice games with queen d7 where either side has won. And maybe it's worthwhile going through one or two of those games in future. But okay, let's stick with this. So xuanet just kept going with g5, and Mugwort's taken and gone for the f7 square. So nice original ideas. I mean, we like this. Hercules says, king h1 is something I expect from Wen Yonyi. corollary of that is that playing King H1 suggests you think your opponent is not a mere wood pusher. I need to work out what does corollary mean. I need to know that word better. Hang on. I'm just gonna update my vocabulary over here on the other screen with the word corollary. I'll be honest. A proposition that follows from and is often appended to one already proved. I don't know if that's helped me. The adjective form, not the noun form, would be forming a proposition that follows from one already proved. Okay, I'm going to try to keep that in my head and understand what you've said, Hercules. I.e., it hands your opponent the tempo, so if he has a line memorized. Yeah, no, I don't know. Maybe I got baby brain. I mean, I was looking after two kids in one bedroom last night and lost out on some sleep there. So maybe I'll try advanced English tomorrow. I'll stick to Crazyhouse for now. Sorry, I missed some key action here. Okay, so we had f7 got taken, knight takes g5, and rook at h8. Wow, okay. So here's one of those cases where black is basically saying, you've sacked so much material, I want to see you prove this checkmate. Ooh, this is shaky. Takes, knight at f6. Can't take the knight because of queen at g7. So king up, queen at h7, king here. H4, king takes, knight d5, king e6, pawn at f5, mate. Am I seeing things, or is that just mate? I thought white was just winning there. Yeah, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's like mate in 6 or something. I thought I saw. Hercules, I guess I'm trying to work out if it's a double negative or a single negative you're talking about. If I just take the last part of your statement, suggests you think your opponent is not a mere wood pusher. Is what you're trying to say is like, if I play king h1, I'm just kind of saying, well, what are you going to do? Because are you just going to play your opening like you've not seen my move? Is that kind of where you're going with this? Because that would make sense to me if that's what you're trying to say. Okay, let's get back to this game. It's still looking good for white here. Knight at f6 is a problem. So queen at h6 is a problem. I feel like xuanet's getting out of the opening well, and then Mugwort's kind of outplaying him after that. I would have liked black there. At some stage at least. Okay, big switch up. We're going to the French here. And Mugwort is a very good friend of mine that I've known for many years. We would have sat in the same tournament halls as junior players when we were very young, but he would have been a few years senior from me. And then, yeah, we've just played a lot of Bughouse. Probably as early as, well, I started playing Bughouse online in year 2000, and we're now in 2020. So I've known Mugwort literally for decades. And in commentating this match, I'll say I know that Mugwort is a player, that follows some principles. He's not one to just kind of bash out an opening without understanding what he's doing. So, he thinks about each move. Knight at f3 here. Like some people might just like jump at knight at f3, but he's gonna think about it, and I don't know if it's right here because takes, queen takes, and then takes the queen. White is probably adequately defended on e2 and f1 from any sort of queen drops. So in fact, I wonder if fg is actually more effective here. If knight takes, then knight at f3, takes, king here. Black would be short of a knight because after taking here, he's got 3 knights in hand. No, 2 knights in hand, sorry. Puts one here. He needs another knight for knight at c3 and knight b2 and queen at d2 to work, so that wouldn't work either. So I wonder if he's actually considering like a queen d7 or queen e8. No, he's taken here. Now bishop takes g5, no good, because if king takes f7, if bishop takes d8, knight at f3 will mate after takes, king d1, queen at d2, because the bishop won't be guarding that diagonal anymore if it's taking d8. So here I think white's only move is to take the queen. Looks risky, but knight at f3, queen takes f3, knight takes f3, king d1 I think is actually playable. Oh, Oppa. What are you saying? Queen f1 there looks strong. I don't know. Is bishop takes f1? I don't know which line you're saying. Queen at f1 is strong. Mind you, there's no queen on d8 in most of those lines, so I didn't see how queen at f1 was working. Unless you're looking at bishop takes f1, takes, and pawn at e2, something like that. nc3 way stronger, missed that. No, nc3 doesn't work. Ah, that's all confusing. Yeah, this is a clear win though. Like takes, king here, bishop at a3, cut off the king from b2, pawn at d2 to finish. Mugwort's just getting the better of xuanet. I wonder if they're stopping here because they've been doing straight rematches. So yes, got 40 viewers now. Yeah, I did want to announce that registration for the 3+2 Crazyhouse World Championship is now open. The main organisers are voluntary, Fishy Vishy and myself this year. There are 2 forum threads where you can register. There is one in, if you go to community forum, there's one in the general chess discussion. It's this one here, 3+2 Crazyhouse World Championship. And I just did one in the general area because it's open to everyone to respond. My original post was in the Crazyhouse World Championship team forum, where you have to first, sign up to be a member of that team and then post. So I thought, let's just make sure it's open to everyone. So you can respond to this thread, or you can click on this link for the Crazyhouse World Championship team post, which actually contains all of the details with regards to registration, qualification, etc. So yeah, I can talk through it briefly. It's kind of boring trying to read it all on the screen, but basically the tournament structure is we'll have registration. We'll see how many players we can get. Basically, if we get, say, any number of players between 64 and 128, then we should probably have 64 players in the double elimination knockout stage. But say we got 300 players, then you'd have 256. So you'd take the number that's less than the raw number of applicants or people that are registering. And there will need to be a qualification round first, which is a single elimination knockout round, which is just to even the numbers back to something that's a power of 2. So The example I posted here was if you had 140 people register, there would only be 128 positions in the double elimination knockout stage. So you'd kind of have to knock out 12 of those positions, and the way to do that is to have a qualifying round of the lowest 24 players. Hello? I'm just in the middle of saying something to everyone. Alright, I'll come out later. So if you've got 140 players, like I was saying, then you have to knock out 12. So the 24 lowest rated players, and when I say lowest rated, I mean we'll have to be quite clear on what that means. If that's just your rating on the 15th of March, if it's, I think that's the simplest thing to do, but it could be the average of your best rating and your current rating or something. It probably doesn't matter too much, but I just think there might be a few people trying to say, well, I'm going to try to get my rating up so I don't have to play the qualification round or something. Anyway, so yes, that would, if you had 24 going into a knockout, you'd have 12 left, and then you would shrink your 140 down to 128, and then you could start the double elimination knockout. And this was a very popular format from 2018, where basically it's a knockout, except instead of most knockouts, when you lose your match, that's it, you're out. In a double elimination knockout, you get two chances, so that means you have to lose twice to get eliminated. And I think that's much better, where in 2017 we just had single elimination knockout, and we had a lot of people that lost 6-4 in their match, and it was like, it all just came down to that. It was 5-all possibly, or like 4-5, and then it's like just, it's 6-4 and that person was out. Whereas here, like, if you lost 6-4, well, it was close, but if you're a strong player, you've still got a chance to get back into it. And if you lose again 6-4, well, then it's like, well, you lost 6-4 twice, and so you're just missing out. But it's a bit more robust that it's happened twice, and you didn't just kind of get randomed out of the event, if you like. Mugwort Crazyhouse says, "Yo, didn't notice streaming, mate." Yeah, I've been commentating on your games. I've been basically saying, xuanet's been coming out of the opening a bit better, but you've been playing a principled approach that's practical. And when he's made a critical mistake, I think you've taken advantage of that and then come home with the wins. Yeah, so double elimination knockout, I've spelt out in quite a bit of detail how this would look for a 128 player structure, all the way to the point of getting to the last 12 players. So basically, by the end, and here's where we're calling it end point, is where you would have 4 players still undefeated and 4 players that have lost, 4 players that are still undefeated, 8 players that have lost just once, and at that point, that's where we'll wrap up the 12 and say these are the 12 candidates, to acknowledge the efforts of those that got through the whole double elimination knockout without losing a game, without losing a match, sorry. They'll each get a prize of $25 right there and then. Going undefeated in the double elimination knockout gives you no advantage going into the candidates. There's 12 candidates. You all start on a level playing field in the candidate stage, but there's a few prizes to be won if you are undefeated, and I think that's fair to acknowledge that effort. Candidate stage is a round robin. 12 players will each play each of the 11 players, and it'll be a match of 10 games where you would stop at 5-all. This year, to be clear, we are going with one game is worth 1 point, and the person who will have the right to challenge the champion at the end is the person with the most points. So that's not necessarily like winning matches. So like, for example, better that you win 9-1 and lose a game 4-6 than winning 2 games 6-4. You'll get basically 9 plus 4 equals 13 points. 6 plus 6 will get 12 points. So it's more about how you play every game and not about each match. So I think it's good to acknowledge, a 9-1 victory versus a 6-4 victory. I think that's fair. And in all honesty, it will probably end up being the same outcome whether you counted matches or points, because that's usually how it works out. But to the letter of the rules, it's going to be based on points. So I recall, I think it was GSVC a few years ago that nearly won every single match 6-4. So if you're GSVC and you have that sort of scoreline, you're probably saying, oh, well, that doesn't favour me because I'm just winning each match. Whereas if you're someone that's had some, wild variations in swings, winning 9-1 and then, just losing 6-4 on some matches, you'd be happier. Mugwort said, hope you didn't see brain slip, knight takes e4 when queen takes e4. No, I don't know I saw that one, Mugwort. Yeah, and grand final is going to be 60 games. So the winner of the candidates will take on Opperwesen, the current defending champion. Last time the way we did it was 3 scheduled matches, each comprising of 20 games. So a lot of this is just kept with tradition of the 2018, but with a few changes in the format. Not massive changes, I would say. Probably going for 12 candidates instead of 8. And anyway, even though we said there were like 8 candidates, it ended up being 11 candidates. Except here, there's no wild cards. We don't intend on changing the rules halfway. I've had a discussion with Fishy Vishy. I think there's been some lessons learnt with that in the past. And that's just because this is being an evolving event as the years have gone on. I really admire Fishy Vishy for pushing the limits and financing the previous tournaments and organising things. Sure, there's been 1 or 2 unpopular decisions, but you can't please everyone. So, yep, we live, we learn, and we go forward. Prize structure is all here. 2,000 guaranteed. Like I said, $25 prize for each of the 4 undefeated players in the double elimination knockout. And then there's prizes listed for the 11 candidates that don't quite make it to the final. And then between the first candidate and world champion, they'll play off. And world champion will be 400, runner-up 200. Candidates run between 150 and 100, so you are guaranteed 100 at least if you're a candidate, which is good because that's what we've had in the past. So it's good to have 100 as a minimum. Yes, there you go. Fishy Fishy saying excited to launch this again. So we've already got, this has only been open a few days. I think we're up to post 33, so look, bar a few duplicate posts and things, let's say that's about 30 people that have registered there. And then we've also got the other... Oh, another person's just replied. So another person is in. Lukashacht. I hope I'm saying that right. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we already got 39 registered. Where do we think we want this to land? I don't know. I'm not even sure how many we had last time, if it was the 128 starters or 64. But I think maybe 256 we could make this year. I'm gonna put it out there. Like that would be awesome if we had 256 starters, and it'd be a lot of work to get through all the rounds. But it's all about opening participation to everyone, and it's your chance to play 10 games against the eventual champion, or against one of the candidates. You don't always get that opportunity, and this is a format that encourages all the players to play and get together, and you know, just have a good competition, really. Mugwort says, sounds awesome. Looks like lots of work went into planning. I missed the part about seeding. Is it the same as previous years, i.e. using max rating as well as current? Yeah, maybe. I said we weren't quite sure on that yet because you could just take current rating as of 15th March, or we could take some kind of average of top rating and um, current rating, which has been quite popular. I haven't yet clarified all the rules and timelines or anything like that. So yeah, that's something we should probably think about. But it'll be one of those, either current rating or average of your best rating and current rating, something like that. Um, Michael Crazyhouse says it is hard to achieve 3200 now. Too many strong players. Um, ZGM Edit, hey, welcome from Nigeria. I'm good. Hope you've been well as well. Um, yeah. Anyway, I mean, where rating counts most is just whether you're going to be in that first qualification round before the double elimination knockout. Um, yeah, it will kind of shape knockout pairings, but because it's double elimination knockout as well, I think it's a little bit fairer in that there's always going to be luck of the draw involved somehow, but that kind of evens it out. Um, all right. Yeah, I might play some games, but before I do, I'm going to step out and just have a quick conversation with the wife because she wanted to talk to me about something and was very kind not to interrupt. So I'm just going to have a short step away from there. Um, and I'll be back. Okay. Hello. Hercules says Spencer needs his hair brushed. No, he needs his hair cut, actually. He doesn't need it brushed, he needs it cut. He's already had his first haircut, and he should have another one. Alright, what are we gonna do? Well, xuanet's not here, and Mugwort is, so maybe we'll play some against Mugwort. Oh, Oppa says maybe it's nice to introduce PyChess. Yes, pychess.org, and I had a go just yesterday. Yeah, let's see. Do we just go pychess.org? Well, if I could spell. Yeah, so go to pychess.org. This website, like if you thought Crazyhouse was already crazy enough, here's where you can play a whole lot of other variants, which I've not tried yet. And I know Oppa Wezen will try to convince me to probably play every single one. Like S House I take to be, no, S Chess will be 01 Chess. What's S House? Is that 01 Chess with Crazyhouse? I don't know, but you can play Crazyhouse 960 here. I know that at least because I tried that out yesterday. That was really good fun. Big shout out to GB Tami, who actually was nominated quite heavily this year. Well, nominated heavily for a 2019 Crazyhouse contribution prize for his developer work on PyChess to make this possible. So big names: Katask, Jasugi, or better known as 12teen. Oppa Wezen and myself have given this site a go. Definitely give it a go. Look, we got all these guests coming in here. Anonymous joined the lobby. Yeah, but it actually, just so you know, maybe I'll just shrink this a little bit so you can see the website. But it's just pychess.org, and it will change to this address. It is an extension of Lichess, I understand, or the authentication is at least. So if you click on if you log into Lichess and then you go to PyChess and then click login, it will use the authentication from Lichess to also, go to your account on PyChess, and then you can play rated matches on PyChess. It is still in its infancy, so everyone's like rated 1500, even though they could be like 2600 strength. But yes, everything's here. So yeah, Romelian says, and Shogi, which is historically the original drop game. So yeah, Shogi is here. A Japanese game, Shogi, where it is a little bit like chess. I don't have all the rules in my head, except I know that it is a bit like Crazyhouse, and that when you take a piece, you can put it back on the board. Except Shogi has always been that way, so it's not like Shogi is a variation of some other Japanese chess. It's, putting pieces back on the board has been part of the game for a long time. Well, since the beginning, when I say a long time. But I remembered something like Shogi, like the equivalent of pawns or something, maybe you couldn't put two on the same file or something like that. I should probably look up the rules rather than guess what they are. But yeah, just wanted to make a plug for PyChess, and that's on the back of the community putting out a lot of thanks to GB Tami, who has been rewarded with some of the donated funds. There was a $250 prize pool that I had put up which was left over from a prior Crazyhouse World Championship, redonated funds from candidates. I mean, gosh, that's so confusing to say, but basically we're trying to put some funds towards contributors, not just players. Yeah, So go and check out Pie Chess, please. Alright, what do we got here? I don't have Mugwort, so I don't know where he's gone. So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna play someone else? I've got NM Mark the Spark, and I am Andrus Toth. I've met Andrus many years ago, and I've kind of lost touch. But yeah, let's. I was nearly considering going through an old game actually, if I can find it. Let me see, because I did mention that before. So if I can't get a match, I might actually do something a bit different here and not play. But xuanet and Mugwort were going through some lines, and I had played one against J Killer a few times. There were two games that were worthy. Let me see if I can find them. Yeah, Op is saying maybe some 960. Yeah, it's like every second day I feel like Op is like, ooh, hope there's some 960. What am I doing? My brain's just not working. Okay, we took on the Lone Wolf the other day. Okay, JK the Bullfrog's here. So there were a few interesting games. This was definitely one of them. I was hoping to show one game where, yeah, I'm going to show one game first where I think JK is the victor, and then I'll show another game where I might have taken it down. So we can look at this from Black's point of view, but the line you saw here was the King H1 line that where Mugwort was playing King H1 against xuanet just before, and I said, you know, J Killer's played this against me. So this was one interesting game, and we played a few games where I played Queen D7. The idea being, well, if White's tucking the king away here, you know, I have seen H3 get played, and you know, it's just kind of saying, well, Black's got to do something. Knight D4 maybe, you know, gets quite sharp quite quickly. Not necessarily favorable for Black, even though you win the queen. The White king is quite safe on H1, I find. And so Queen D7 was an idea I came up with during the series, where I'm basically saying, yeah, in chess that would be horrible to just lose that knight and have a double pawn and ruin your structure, but in Crazyhouse, you know, I'm replacing it with a bishop here, and this bishop is already on G4, which is preventing knight at H5 or knight at F5, and then if H3 is played, you can take it, and it's quite strong for Black. So here, you know, I've got this kind of messed up structure, but White can't get in all of a sudden. So White tries to make some progress here. Taking out the knight is going to be useful. You could have things with knight at E7, knight at G6. But yeah, that I think basically J Kill is saying, well, I've got to do something like C3 or bishop B5. It's got to be something slow because there's not much else in the position. King H8 is just avoiding tricks with knight at E7 and knight at F5. So here I thought, all right, that's a free pawn, but White's going to get some compensation on light squares, whether it be a bishop on E4 or a knight on E7. But yeah, it's like Black doesn't have much else. If you don't take this knight, then like rook G8, knight takes G7, takes knight takes F6. Like you're just letting White get in. So you nearly have to take it. And takes, and then knight E7. And instead of bishop at E4, where you know you could possibly even take it and take D5. I think that'd be fine for Black. It just avoids that. C6 is getting hit. If you play Queen H7, yeah, bishop at E4, pawn at G6, like this knight will swing out to H4. There's a lot of pressure on G6 anyway. So I went for Queen D7 here, trying to defend C6, and basically as black here, you'd be just saying, well, I'm a pawn up, and and your knight's in trouble here, and if you don't find a way to, destroy me in a hurry, then I'm just going to take pieces and consolidate and beat you with material. That's basically what I'm saying here is black. So J Killer responds, and knight at g6 is the move. Now here maybe I should take this and just put the king on g8. Or maybe I should go to h7. I didn't like h7 because knight takes and bishop at f5, and then I lose a queen, which is also not entirely the worst game to play, but it looks like I've gone for this line, and I just thought I was nearly winning here, because I'm up a whole piece, and it looks like white has nothing decisive, and I wanted to show this game because I liked how quickly that J Killer turned the tables on me, and it was very resourceful. So bishop at f5. If queen takes f5, knight e7 check. In hindsight, that's probably better than what I got in the game, but I played pawn at e6, and I missed this continuation where if takes, knight takes just wins all the material, so I have to go to f7, and knight takes e5, deliberate sack, and suddenly the queen out, so like I escaped this double check, and then now this one is hitting me, and then my queen is just in the wrong place because it's always gonna get taken by this knight. From here, it doesn't look good for black at all, so that's why I say in hindsight it would have been better just to accept that I'm going to lose the queen here by taking on f5. At least then maybe I have a chance of defending the position. But from here I don't think it's any good. Takes f5, very plain and simple, taking the rook. Could have taken f8, but I think rook at g8, king e7, rook takes g7 is very convincing already. White's going to win that queen and the game. King e7 is no better. So I thought that was a nice game from J Killer, and I thought I'd show one game in that line which white won. And I'm deliberetely not showing up any engine analysis. If you want to go check it out with the engine, please do. But I think it's important to discuss some ideas. You can always look up any of my games with an engine anytime in your own time. But from a practical point of view, even at the top level, when you're playing, you're playing. It's a contest of ideas, and that's words that Yasser Seirawan has used before, and because you don't have the advantage of having an engine just saying, oh, at move 23 you should have done this. That's not how a real game works. You're gonna miss things if that's how you're learning the game outside of the board, because you're just saying, I'll turn on the engine, it'll tell me where I went wrong. Oh, okay, next time I get that exact position on move 23, I'll make the right move. Whereas if you have a blueprint of ideas, I think that's potentially more helpful during your matches. So I'm gonna bring up this next match, which I'm gonna call a missed opportunity at playing a triple queen sack. And you can see what the final position looks like here, but this one actually came from the same opening. So let's go through, and again we've got this king h1 and queen d7, same idea, knight d5, bishop at g7, and here J Killer played h3. Now I think he thought he was getting adventurous here, and I'll say this is not a good move to play, and I think in the chat he agreed. So you You can see the chat that we had from that game. He said, "Okay, this is not the right way to go, lol," and that was probably written sometime after Queen takes h3. So why would White do this? I mean, the idea I think he had was basically, uh, you know, he thought maybe here Black can't do much with the two pawns in hand, and then you'll just kick the queen away with bishop at g2, you know, and play from there. I think that was the plan. But it doesn't make sense having a king on h1 and then inviting, you know, Black in with his tempo. Further to that, I think it is actually very dangerous with the two pawns. So this was how I progressed. If you play pawn at g2 straight away, I think White can probably meet it with maybe bishop at h2. Still, pawn at g3 is going to be very strong. Maybe it's trivial where you go first, but I chose pawn at g3 first. And you know, the threat here is simply pawn at h2, king h1, and g2. So knight at e3 makes it so if you play pawn at h2, king h1, g2 is no longer mate. Even if you take this, it's redefended. So it's a nice neat defense from J-Killer. I play pawn at g2. The idea being, I don't want my queen to get kicked away with either bishop at g2 or bishop at g4. He couldn't play the move before bishop at g2 because, you know, bishop takes f2 is here. So that's why knight at e3 was played. So pawn at g2, you can't play bishop at g4 because of mate. Knight takes g2. And here I missed, you know, a really strong move, which is actually just knight d4. The idea being that I've sacked the pawn on g2 so that the bishop can't land on g2 or g4 anymore. And knight d4 basically goes, well, I'm just going to distract the key defender, stopping queen h2. You can't play f takes g3 because either knight takes f3 or knight e2 is double checkmate. So knight d4 was a nice move, and that's one I missed here because I was just so set on taking f2, which is what I played. I basically saw that after that, you know, pawn at g3, and one way or another I'm going to pick up g2. You can't play king g1 because of rook at h1. The only other move defending g2 is king f1, and then you get rook at f2, and then you clean up anyway. So I didn't look much further ahead once I saw I could achieve this. That's why I missed knight d4. But yeah, here Black's at least, you know, continuing with initiative is considerably safer than White. But there's still a lot to be played here. So bishop at e2, giving an escape square for the king. And that's quite wise. I mean, if you chase the king here, the king's going to run to safety. So that's the idea of that move. So Black's counter idea is basically how can we stop this king d2, king c1, king b1 from happening. Knight d4. It's basically saying, well, I can't actually stop you on the dark squares, so I've got to try to make it difficult for you, where if your king steps to d2, I'm going to take on f3. Or one possible idea is here, after captures, Black is actually threatening knight at f3, which would force bishop takes f3, and the queen would cover d2, which makes queen f2 checkmate. So knight at f3 is a mate threat here. Now check played first, and I actually missed this move. When I saw it played, I was like, oh, okay, that's actually quite dangerous. I didn't see it. If, for example, you play king h8 here, I think White wins. Basically, there's knight at g6 check. If king h7, knight takes f8, rook takes f8, pawn at g6, f takes g6, bishop at g8. So why don't we actually go to an analysis board so I can show you rather than just showing arrows. This does unfortunately show all the computer analysis, but that's fine. It's still calling minus 33.8 here, but I'm quite sure it's force mate if king h8. So knight at g6 takes... sorry, there's one line without takes. If you don't take it, it looks safe, but it's not. Can't run h8 because of rook at h7, and there's this very neat idea with a bishop at g8, because that opens up. So suddenly white has mate out of nowhere, and you've got to be really careful of this one. So if king h7 isn't an option, you've got to take the knight. And the problem there is, if I take with the rook, I feel like white can just play pawn at g6. I can't run back because of rook at h7. I got to run up, and then that's not going to be any better. Yeah, it's probably just rook at g4, bishop g6. That's nice. Taking with the bishop is no better because bishop at h7 looks like it will do the trick. This helps develop white's queen. So yeah, like at this moment, I thought I'd nearly blundered when I saw knight e7, because the first move I thought is king h7. Oh, I don't like it. Bishop at f5. Well, what about king h8? Oh, that's getting mated. So I did take king h7 though, because otherwise you're getting mated. Hang on, what's this? I thought rook at f1, king d2, takes d1, rook takes d1, queen takes d2, king takes d2, knight at d4, mate, probably. What was that? Sorry, I'm just looking at something Op was saying. Yeah, could be back here. There could be a rook at f1 idea. Rook takes d1, takes, queen takes e2, and knight at d4. Yeah, that's also something I've missed. So rook at f1 you can't take because of queen f2. Rook at f1, rook takes d1, rook takes d1, queen takes here, king takes, knight at d4. Yeah, I think that's also a strong play that's been missed. That's why Oppa Wesen's world champion, guys. So king h7, bishop at f5. Now, if you bring the king back, knight at g6 is going to be winning. So you've got to put this knight in an ugly spot. But white can't take it with the knight. There's no actual mate threat here, so you wouldn't take it back. If knight takes g6, you've got knight at f3. That's mate in 2. So here the idea is white's trying to run away with king d2. And yeah, basically with knight at f3, it looks like you're running the king to safety. So here's where I thought it was quite interesting. I played this novel-looking move, rook at g1. The idea I had was, if queen takes g1, then knight at f3, and then I get to capture this queen with check, and that should be decisive with this continuation. So yeah, sometimes it's a non-check move that can help. Knight at e1, he tried to block it off, and then we came in with a knight at f3 anyway. Idea being here, if knight takes f3, then rook takes, and here, at least this time I saw this rook takes d1, queen takes e2 idea. Yes, even better, queen at f2 instead of knight at d4. Yeah, that's mate, and the other line. Yeah, I just saw about this far and said, yeah, that's going to be good enough for a win. Yeah, either king g1, queen f2, queen h2, or king h3 and knight at f4. So king c1, that's a good move. And I had to have a bit of a think here. I mean, look, engine's saying it's minus 47, but in the game it doesn't feel that obvious. Rook takes e1, takes, and here the idea is white kind of looks safe here. I mean, it calls mate in 8, and you go, oh, well, obviously it's mate in 8, but you don't see mate in 8 that is. You can easily blow it with, say, something like queen at e3, and then, white should be better here, I think. Oh, not necessarily. Maybe there's still something that you can get. Not convinced. Yeah, you wouldn't want to be playing into this sort of risky situation where white just ends up having the attack and you don't actually get the mate. So what's critical here is knight takes d3. Can't take with the bishop because then you're opening up the second rank. C takes d3, still looks safe, but pawn at d2. Now if you take it, then queen takes e2 is good again. It's the same sort of ideas. There's just too many pieces in hand for black that queen takes e2 works in most situations. So J Killer played king c2 to avoid it. And here I feel, black can easily blow this position again, because if you play something like knight b4, king b3, queen at c2, and the king runs the safety on a3. And I don't think we had that much time on the clock, but d1 queen. This is where I think you've got an opportunity for a mate with a triple queen sack, and so it's d1 queen. If king takes, again the queen takes e2 applies. So rook takes, queen takes, and then rather than play knight at e3 and chase out, I thought I'd sack the queen here, because if rook takes, you've got knight at e3. If king takes, it also works. So this is the second queen being sacrificed, and here's where I missed my chance, and I should have played queen at c2 just out of elegance and had a rook at d1 finish. That would have been a triple queen sack, but not to be. You really should try to keep your queen if you're playing properly. So rook at d1, queen at c2. Anyhow, I thought that was an interesting game. So there's just a few games that I remembered when I saw Mugwort and xuanet playing earlier tonight. Hope you enjoyed that for a change. Okay, what are we going to do? No opponents. No opponents. There's actually no opponents. Okay. So Oppa's called for 960. So, are you going to be playing Oppa? Are you going to play some 960? Or do I have to look for a 960 opponent on my own? Oppa's kind of in this mood of, more I'm playing Crazyhouse today, or I don't feel like playing Crazyhouse today. We got to see how Oppa's feeling. Yes, nice Blunderman one. It could have been JL's Immortal, but blue with non-sacking of the queen. Mind you, it's just not just non-sacking the queen. I think there were other ways of winning much earlier, but you don't get to sack 3 queens in any form of chess every day. Even Bughouse, it's difficult. You usually only have 2 queens in hand. In Crazyhouse, you normally only have 2 queens in hand. So I just thought it's noteworthy, just missing an opportunity to sack 3 queens. Alright, Oppa says, sorry, time to eat. Okay, that's a valid reason. That's fine. Alright, what else have we got going on? Have we got a tournament that's happening at the moment? We got a 1-0 that's about to close. We got a 3-0 that's about to start. What's the time? Oh, midnight. Got work tomorrow. Oh, what are we going to do? Again, look, I'm probably repeating myself a bit here, but if you've just joined, the registrations for the 3+2 Crazyhouse World Championship are open. I do suggest you go into the general chess discussion to find this one, 3+2 Crazyhouse World Championship 2020. You can just search for Crazyhouse in the forum section as well. That will bring up one of the threads that says 3+2. The one in the general chess discussion is just open for everyone to respond to, so that's why it's a bit easier. But my original post actually is in the Crazyhouse World Championship team forum, and that's the one which contains a lot more detail on tournament structure and prizes. Main headlines are we've got $2,000 guaranteed prize pool. Tournament structure is going to be, the main section will be a double elimination knockout stage, where each match is 10 games of 3+2 Crazyhouse, and you basically agree to a time with your opponent at each round. Double elimination knockout means you got to lose twice to get eliminated from the event, which is nice. It's not like sudden death when you lose one game, one match. And candidates will have 12 candidates, and that's so that we can really see the breadth and depth of the talent that's available in the Crazyhouse community today. I thought 12 was better than 8. Grand final, 60 matches, or 60 games, 60 games against defending champion Opal Wezen. Yep, all the details there for you to read. More to come with regards to timeline and rules and things like that. Yes, so we'll take some comments. Let's GMAdet saying another World Crazyhouse tourney with winning £25 coming soon, free for all. That's cool. So I think ZGMAdet has been putting up some tournament prize money. Also, I should note, J Killer has been putting up $50 a week for the Elite Crazyhouse Arena. And in true Crazyhouse community fashion, I think Katask won one of those, and then J Killer was going to send him the funds, and Katask said, no, can you please donate the funds to the $2,000 donation fund that I've got going. The goal you can see below is at $120. The way this is working is basically the community can contribute to this $2,000 donation fund, and if we are short of the goal, then I'll guarantee the balance. That's how that's working. So J Killer spent 1 or 2 weeks trying to work out how to send me Katask's $50 that he should have won, and so things go around. So there's probably actually another $50 that should be added to the target below. We're probably at 170 at the moment. Blunderman1 says that generally Crazyhouse, play Slow House, aka Antique House, with me or someone else. Okay, so Blunderman1, you want to play some Slow House? Where are you? Have you got the same handle here on Leechess? How do I find you, Blunderman1? Or you can find me if you like. Just Nigeria TV, that's ZGMAdet saying I will donate to the fund month end. That's lovely. Thank you for your support. Alright, Blunderman1, 6-5. Okay. We're going to play a 6+5 match, just agreeing without much thought. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go to sleep soon, but maybe we'll play at least 2 games with Blunderman1. It says, do you know what Slow House is? Well, I figure there's a compound word made of slow and house. And slow is the slow part, and house is the crazy house part. That's what I figure. It says, any position that has a check to a king is illegal unless it is a checkmate. Oh no, it's actually a different set of rules. I'm not familiar with this. Okay, so hang on. Any position that has a check to a king is illegal unless it is a checkmate. Is great. So, okay, I'm just confirming the rules here with Blunderman1 on. It's a novel game, so So you can't make checks on the board unless it's checkmate. Yeah. Okay. That sounds like a really old version of Bughouse. That yeah. I I don't know if Antique. Okay, so Antique and Flourish came up with this, but I've heard of this decades ago where there's a form of Bughouse chess where you can't put pieces on with check unless it's checkmate. Um, okay, so here we go. So we're playing with illegal. Illegal move is to play check. Hang on. So I got to confirm one other thing. Okay, got it. All right. So it doesn't matter if you're putting pieces on the board or moving pieces. So we're playing a new variant here. Hey Katask, how you going? Okay, any position there's a check to a king is illegal. Thus, any move that leads to such position is illegal. Okay, I have a feeling I'm gonna lose this game to an illegal move because. Alright, so I'm taking that bishop takes f7 is illegal here. Yeah, Katask says, imagine if he sets this challenge and out of nowhere starts mating you. Yeah, I don't mind. Um, it's a casual game anyway, and we're here to kill a little bit of time, just here to relax. So yeah, I've got to figure out what's important. So I can't trade queens, so because that'd be check, that'd be next to a king. So in fact, you can use your king as a weapon here. It looks like. Hmm. It's funny. There's like a variant of chess that is not explicitly in the rules of any server, but I used to play with an old friend. His online username was Remote Boo from back on Fix, um, and we called it freeze chess, which was basically if you make a move and then it attacks another piece, that piece is frozen and cannot move until the piece that froze you is taken, removed, or something like that, and you end up with a whole lot of pieces that just can't move on the board. And that had nothing to do with Crazyhouse, by the way. So, okay, well, I have a feeling sacking is okay. This isn't. I'm not allowed to put things on with check here, so you've got to be quite materialistic, I imagine. But here's a chance for me to trade queens. And I figure with his king on f2, maybe my king is safer on g8 just because you can't sack. Like if you can get a wall of pawns around your own king, I think you're pretty immune to attack, and then you've just got to play chess without making any checks. Yeah, I've not figured this out yet. So I need to undermine the dark squares if I'm going to get in. He might do a sack and pawn at f6, but then I get pawn at f4. But I'm never actually threatening mate, so this king is actually very safe. It's really hard to make a mating net. So bishop takes e7 could be very good here for white, actually. Yeah, I think I've stuffed this up a little bit. So should I take e7 or e5 here? Or am I just busted anyway? Or maybe I'm actually meant to play bishop takes e5 here. It looks crazy, but because he can't check me, I gotta work this out. So knight takes, pawn here, that's actually quite dangerous because he's getting towards a mate threat. And I'm a long way off making a mate threat. Whereas if I take with the bishop and he captures, then pawn at g7, if I move my king up here, I'm actually really safe because he can't play pawn at f6 and he can't take my rook. So that's quite interesting. I'm gonna bite the bullet and take this one. Like, I'm only starting to learn that a king may actually be safer in the middle in this game. It's actually my king that is in more danger because I'm near the edge. Yeah, so bishop takes. So here I can still take this. But knight at f6 is gonna hurt, isn't it? So shall I actually put a knight on f5? Knight on f5. Alright. Blunderman's probably watching as well, so I should probably, keep my thoughts to myself a little bit. Okay, let's put the knight here. So white's in no immediate danger while I have no mate threat. I need to find a way of covering f1. So queen at h8 threatened. So here's my, oh no, my crazy idea doesn't work. See, I thought maybe queen at h8 would be cool, but the problem is he can take this and under promote and then it's not check. So that kind of spoils my whole idea. So I'm gonna have to take this. So if you just started watching, this is a variation that Blunderman 1 is teaching me where it's Crazyhouse rules, but you cannot check the king. That's illegal. The only The only time you can check a king is if you're actually placing checkmate. So it just messes up the whole dynamic of the game. Like here you just go, yeah, knight at f6, that's gonna win. But that's illegal now. So bishop takes, king takes, and then actually my king is starting to get safer because you can't attack it with as many things. So your king nearly defends any piece that's going to be captured with check. It kind of flips a whole lot of things on its head. Yeah, so we just take this, and then I'm immune to knight at e8 check. You can't check me with pawn at f6. Nothing can be checked here. So yeah, I mean even here, like queen at f8 is the only actual mate threat. So I can play bishop e6 because pawn at f6 is fine. You can't play pawn at f6. So I just had to stop queen at f8. I've played bishop e6 because, you know, if I get bishop takes c4, then I'm actually covering a key square here. Where if I got a pawn to f4, I could set up a mate threat. So bishop takes e6 played. I should probably just take some more material. So for white, here you'd have to cover g8 or block off my rook. Yeah, that's okay. So I think it's a good idea to take some more material because then I get a chance later to make a mate threat. So here maybe I'm actually in some trouble because he's introduced another rook here. So queen at f8, queen at g8 are mate threats. But if I put a bishop on f8, he can still take it. Yeah, I think I'm losing here now because I've allowed too many slow pieces near my king. So no, I thought I had an interesting defense, but it doesn't quite work. I mean, all I can see is bishop at f8 at the moment, which should be taken by the rook. That's correct. And then I gotta make an escape square for the king. Yeah. So every check here is going to be winning. So I'm going to throw in the towel here. I think I've missed a clear idea. I think maybe rook takes d8 isn't right. So let's have a rematch of that. I think I understand the game better now. Okay. So we've got to play for material and actually be not so fearful of things happening to the king. King safety is in the center of the board for this game. Okay. So my queen can't be taken because that would be check and therefore illegal. So what if I take this and put a knight on c6? So then I'm threatening mate, but you can't play bishop takes c3, you can't play queen at e6. So, you know, this bishop is also under attack now. Yeah, so queen at d6, good moves, covering both of these. So I feel like I should have some kind of trickery here, but I'm not yet used to this variant enough to see it immediately. Well, what if we keep things simple and just try to win the queen? So if he moves the queen, I don't have queen at f8 as a mate threat. I can't play queen at f8. I'd have to set it up with something like pawn at c6. But I'd be happy taking d5 anyway. Yeah, good questions. Are moves like bishop b4 useful at all? You're never threatening. I mean, the use immediately there was it was just stopping knight takes d5. Yeah, so here I feel like knocking the queen around is pretty good. Yeah, I can't see anything wrong with knocking the queen around. So this queen is kind of defended from a queen ever capturing it, which is interesting. Yeah, maybe just pawn at c6, pawn at b7. That's winning material, isn't it? So you know, pawn at d6, I'm expecting something like that. Marintinum, I joined the team. Alright, someone must be trying to register. Yep. 3+2 Crazyhouse World Championship open for registration for the next month up until 15th March. Go and sign up. It'll be interesting to see how many players we can get this year. I think, yeah, we could get something like 256 potentially. I think we've already surpassed 32, that's for sure. So we've already passed that power of 2, and we've only been open for a couple days. Okay, so This looks dangerous for black. This looks really dangerous for black because I've got queen at e7 as a mate threat, and the queen is the only thing defending it. So I could actually play f4 because queen takes e3 is illegal. Queen would have to go to e6, and then I could play pawn at f5, and then the queen's essentially trapped. So I think I shall do that. f4. You'd never play this in a normal game because queen takes e3 check would be bad, but we're playing this funny game with funny rules where check is illegal unless it's checkmate. That's the one variation. I've been told it's slow house or antic house that this is being called. Makes your chess is Jan picking up the variant quickly. Oh no, I'm not picking it up quickly. It's still. I feel like I'm missing a lot of opportunity that should be in this game. But yeah, I need to conserve a pawn in hand for pawn at f5 for this to work. That's why I'm playing this move order. Mugwort Crazyhouse says, this game is like tennis where you only win the point if the op doesn't get the racket to the ball. Yeah, it is like that. No, it's maybe a little bit different. It's yeah, what would the analogy be for tennis? What this feels like? No, for tennis it more feels like you can't win a game or you can't win a point if if you're standing like inside your own service box. So it's like if you're at the net, you can't win. You just have to hit a ball and then like run backwards and then play from the baseline and try to hit a winner from the baseline again. That's what it feels like. You feel like really inhibited for what should naturally be a good position on the board or on the court. That's probably the analogy I'd give. So I can win a queen here, but I'm even wondering if I should take it. Is there a benefit to not taking this queen? I mean, I'm still very new at this game, so I'm even wondering if, other positional advantages are worth more than just taking this. The problem with taking the queen is that a lot of other pieces become immune from capture. And I could be overthinking this. But if I lose the opportunity to take the queen, then surely that must be worse. So let's keep it simple. We'll take a queen. Okay. So if we're gonna take this knight, it's gonna be with a knight or with a rook. If I'm gonna take this pawn, I've got to do it. Yeah, this is how to make progress here. So you gotta undermine the defenders, right? So pawn at b7 can't be bad. And honestly, in a way, this feels a little bit like atomic chess in that you kind of gain some safety by not putting any pieces around your king. Because if there's no pieces around your king, it's very difficult for your opponent to build a mating net. So I guess another rook in hand should be handy. And then I guess attacking loose pieces on the board is where I'm gonna find some progress. Like, how do you make progress with the queens? That's the question. Queen of b7, rook just moves. It feels like the back rank is a good place to penetrate. So, I mean, my king shouldn't be in any immediate danger for a long time because it would be really hard for black to set up a mating net around my king and play checkmate in one move. So I would think that being a queen up is a massive advantage here. I'm just like giving you a live train of thought as I figure this game out one move at a time. Um, so, how do you win material here without checking the king? That's counterintuitive, isn't it? I feel like that rook on d8 is actually a very strong defender, and if you could get rid of that, you'd be doing well. But if I put the rook on the back rank, then it's just going to be blocked with bishop at c8. Okay, well, at least we make black use a passive piece. So if you're black here, you're basically trying to gradually win material back with the minor pieces. So I do need to make sure I am defending this bishop at some stage with something that's not a rook or a queen, because then I can't recapture. So you'd have to have like a pawn here or something. Yeah, Mixu found an interesting defense where against my pawn at f5 idea, he could have put the queen on d7. Okay, bishop takes c2, but I think that's giving me a lot here. Because now I can take this pawn. I'm threatening queen at d7. If knight takes, there's queen at d7 mate. So there's actually some mate threats here. The back rank rook at c8 or queen at c8. Yeah, I don't see a defense here. Well, you'd probably have to play like knight at c8 or knight at e7 actually. So maybe knight at c8. I can't play queen takes c7 because that's only check. So knight at c8, pawn at d7. Because pawn at d7 would create a mate threat here, create a mate threat here. Oh, well, that's just mate in one. Alright. I don't mind giving this game another go or two. We'll see. Alright. e4. So on what we've learnt so far in the first two games, you want to be materialistic, and openness for your king is not a bad idea. So my opening choice is actually pretty horrible first game playing Perk. But what can you do when you don't understand the game very well? Okay. Well, all of the theoretical lines in e4, e5 for Crazyhouse don't apply anymore because you can't check the opponent's king. So maybe an h6 is worthwhile here, so we don't allow bishop g5, bishop e3. I feel like he's deliberately not putting things around the king. So I don't mind taking this one. And this pawn is strangely defended when you would never put a knight on g4. So bishop at h5, I could have just taken e3 and neither bishop can take f7 because it's check. So now you'd want to target e3. Whether to target it this way or from g5. Not sure. What's the difference? Or you could even just take e3 and play pawn at d4. So, yeah, not only do you need weaknesses to attack, you probably need loose pieces that are not in the line of sight of the king. I'm like on the fly trying to develop a set of principles in a game I got no idea about. So you hear me waffling on, and whether or not it's good advice if you ever have to play this game is another thing. All right, I'm gonna take e3. I have a feeling that knocking the queen around as much as you can is a valid approach. Ah, you're gonna defend everything. Okay, okay. See, this move I didn't consider. Like, completely missed. This is interesting because I can pin this queen but never actually take it. That's a complete miss. So I just lost some material, guys. I suppose if I pin the queen, then at least it can't actually move, but I would need to capture a knight. And in the meantime, like bishop at g3 is going to happen anyway, so maybe not so much value in that. Alright, we'll play d6. We gotta develop. That's a good move, as expected. Just bishop e6. I need to try to get some material back. Someone says, what is the problem with taking the queen? We're playing a funny version of this game where it is illegal to make check unless your check is checkmate. So these are not official rules on a website. This is a new game that Blunderman1 is teaching me. So I cannot check the king. I can't place a piece on the board that checks the king. I can't move a piece that checks the king. So he was allowed to play king d2 to defend two of his pieces. Okay, so white's doing well because white's basically holding on to material here. So I don't even have a plan for progress. I'm not sure what to do here. Yeah, trading pieces doesn't really help. Um, maybe I need another knight. If I can just keep solid and make it so that I'm not losing a huge ton of material all of a sudden, then maybe I'm okay. So let's take this knight. So maybe maybe I just need to keep making progress on the board. I need to find a way to win material without checking the king. That's the trick, isn't it? So does this actually become a funny game where you keep all of your material on the side of the board in an effort to leave nothing that can be captured, and then at the right point you place your pieces in a net? I don't know. I've still not figured out all the implications to this simple one rule which changes everything, that check is illegal and you can only make a check when it's checkmate. The reason why I'm happy to oblige playing, this strange variant at request is I like to play chess to have a raw clash of talent and ideas, and this is right down my alley because you've got to kind of think on the fly and figure something out that's not obvious, and it's largely uncharted territory. So I think it's quite interesting. Yes, Katask, raw chess. Okay. So knight went back to d5. Well, then I've got something to target. So knight on b4 or knight on e7. Which one's going to be more useful? Probably. Uh, I'm not sure. Maybe it's a. No, we'll go to e7. Okay, well, okay, so he's just giving me the free pawn. I'm happy to take that. Oh, he's got queen d4. Okay. So still, I feel like that has helped. She's giving me a ton of time. Uh, uh, I don't want to lose g7. So queen f6 looks interesting because I'm immune to knight attacks because check is not possible. Um, and if a bishop lands here, it could play g5 potentially. Maybe on a good day, I don't know, there's a knight on b4 and you can play e4 and take here. He's gone here, he's looking for queen takes g7, I expect. Yeah, well, why don't we give that a try? Knight at b4. Maybe knight. I'm so indecisive. Nah, bishop at d4 makes sense. I gotta play for material. I gotta play for this guy and this guy. If he wants to take here, then so be it. We'll just take here or here. Because my rook is defended inherently. There's never gonna be a knight at f6 or something. Even queen takes g7, like queen takes f3 could be quite dangerous. Because then bishop takes b2 and there's a mate threat appearing. Like you could kind of lull your opponent into a false sense of security, thinking they're safe, putting their king up near the center, and then suddenly putting a mate net on them. So, is queen takes f3, or is my queen going to get knocked around too much there? Because it looks like it will be hard to cover d1. Well, I'm gonna see where this goes. Queen takes f3. F6 still remains a safe square for my queen because it's defended by this knight, but it's also immune to knights attacking my queen. I don't have a mate in one thread here though. It could be a bishop at e4, bishop at g4, bishop at e2. Oh, rook g3. Okay. I nearly feel like Blunderman's trying to not put pieces on the board. I'm just gonna back off to f6, I think. Am I really gonna do that? Alright, we'll put the queen back on f6. I somehow feel like I lost an opportunity back there. So white's gonna win a piece. I feel like I gotta try to take the rook, but I'm gonna be slow on defense, aren't I? Because it's pretty hard to set up a mate threat. Let's see how this goes. The value of the knight on g3 is at least one of the light squares is covered. And I wonder if I get some safety from castling here. Ah, so there's a threat. So queen at e7, the mate threat. We can defend that. Am I losing a key asset? Oh, getting more time again. A lot of sympathy from Blunderman 1. So I think knight at f5 is interesting. But I, I I don't think he saw my pawn at e2 idea, and I don't even know if this is a good idea. So pawn at e2 basically threatens queen at e3, mate in 1. Where I actually would be quite happy to see the rook come off the back rank. I can take this bishop with the idea of trying to capture the rook, or we can put something on the back rank. So here maybe bishop takes b2 is good because I'm threatening queen at c1. So with the rook coming off the back, I just felt I got more options. And then at a later point, maybe even knight takes g3, knight takes e2. But I'm quite happy that the knight's defending e7 and also covering e3 at the moment. So so d1 is the key, isn't it? I take g3. Yeah, I just feel like I'm missing something here. Something obvious. And maybe it's actually that knights are the key. That's because you can set up your mating nets with the knights very well. I might just bring this knight back this time. So here, if rook takes b2, that's interesting. Why is the bishop gone to f6? Oh, he's defending the h4 bishop. Okay. So I gotta try to get to. I gotta try to get to. I gotta try to get to d1 somehow. That's how I've got to make my mate threat. So queen at c3, a mate threat now, but if rook takes b2, he's not mated because he can run to c3. Well, I should try to win a rook then, because rook at d1 is a mate threat. Ah, but this rook is defended. I've just missed that completely. Yeah, I played that move a bit too quickly, didn't I? I felt I was making progress there, but... well, maybe I still am. Because for white, it's kind of hard. He has to cover f8 and d7 all at once. Maybe we take a pawn here, or... he's threatening to take my rook now. He's using his king as a weapon. We'll take here on a2 first. And now I'm threatening queen takes f2. Well, we better give him some more time. But also just like a pawn at c3, pawn at d2, like just walk in really slow. Or queen c3 is looking dangerous too. But you've got to be really accurate here, because say you play queen c3, then queen at d2, and you don't have your pawn at b2 check, so you can't take his queen, you can't take c2, you've got to back off your queen all of a sudden. It's not straightforward. You say wasn't rook takes b1 made? Rook takes b1 is illegal because it's check in this variant that we're playing. In normal Crazyhouse, yes, rook takes b1. You play without an idea. So this is basically Crazyhouse without check being legal. So bishop at b3, which is very sensible. So if queen takes f2, he can take... well, I should take f2. So rook at d1 is a mate threat. He has to take here, but then pawn at c3, and then rook at d1 is a renewed mate threat. And then there might be a bishop at d2. Now I can't play queen e3 check because a block is legal. So yeah, I can't even take this because a block is legal, and that's check. It's not checkmate. So I actually need a pawn. So I got to take this bishop. Now bishop at d2 is a mate threat, but I have actually won some material now. So okay, he's covering here. So I should just take this because then I've at least destroyed his two best attackers, and my king is very safe again. Yeah, there's a rook here, but Yeah, there's no mate with queen at d7 or queen at e7, so I'm gonna threaten mate myself by attacking b1. So now he's found safety basically because I can't hit b1. Interesting. So I instinctively feel I should play bishop at a4 just to cover back at home. But at the same time, I do need to cover b1 somehow. I can't ever do it with rook at a1 check. I could do it with rook at b2, but even this is nicely set up. So he's threatening queen at f8 now. Got a mate threat. I feel like queen. I feel like queen g7 or h8. Maybe queen e7 was stronger. Okay, he's attacking here now. So rook at b2. We gotta try to threaten mate ourselves. Gotta try to threaten mate again. This looks dangerous. So he'd have to defend it with like a queen at e1 or something. Okay, so now it's this knight. Very interesting. Alright, I'm gonna have to defend by bringing the knight back here, I think. Or, no, I don't have to. Well, yeah, my queen should have come to e7 before. That was a miss. Perhaps I should be thinking of taking this rook. Alright. This game is going for a while. I'm gonna have to call this last game. Because it's gonna go past 1 AM and I've got work tomorrow. So I think he sees value in defending this rook. Maybe I should just back off and... Or maybe I don't back off, maybe I go this way. No, then I get mated at the back, so we'll try this one. Okay. We'll take this rook, because I'd like to get rid of this knight. So if you've just joined, this is Crazyhouse Chess, where you are not allowed to play check. You can only place check when it is checkmate. Um, okay, I think knight here is very strong. How are you going to stop pawn at b2 and bishop takes d2? Unfortunately, this bishop on a4 is covering mate in 1 here. So normally you'd be susceptible to all these sorts of checks. Pawn at c6, pawn at c7, pawn at e7, knight at c6. Alright. Okay, good games, Blunderman. That was fun. New variant. There you go. We call it Slow House, and you saw how slow it really went. That's probably why you call it Slow House. Katar says time to run this game through computer analysis. You don't have a computer that can analyze it just yet, which is all the fun. Thank you, Blunderman1, for introducing me to this game, and of course, Blunderman1 some time ago, about a month ago, actually made a very generous donation of $59.79 towards the 3+2 Crazyhouse World Championship Fund. So thank you, Blunderman1, for your contributions with donation, and also for creating some interesting content today. He said last game was real fun. Yes, no, I felt like last game got a little bit more advanced into the ideas of this game and what's possible relative to the first 2 games we played. So, yeah, that's right. These kinds of games are what Slow House is all about. Yeah, I got to feel that. I understand. I feel you. I get it. So, yeah, I should post this to YouTube, and yeah, you can, I guess, share it with Antic if that's what you want to do with it. So. Yeah, fun stream. Good to be on here again, guys. Last plug for the 3+2 Crazyhouse World Championship. Open to all, free to all to enter. $2,000 prize pool, double elimination, knockout stage, followed by candidates round with 12 players before the top candidate meets defending champion Opelwezen in the grand final. And let's hope we finish it before the end of 2020. Well, we're getting started in February, but yeah, could have got started a little earlier, but we'll play the position we have, right? Okay, it's 1 a.m. I've got work tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Cool to put 2.5 hours up of this. Yeah, maybe we'll play some Slow House again. Blunderman1. Good fun. Alright, sign up for the 3+2 Crazyhouse World Championship, and we'll see you next time, alright? Take care for now.